Hello, this is Angela with Parker's Permaculture. I actually just am taking a break from filming a video. I am ripping up my annual veggies today. Behind me is, a section of my annual veggie garden, and it's time for almost everything to come up. Not everything. This right here, that's a perennial tree collard, so it's not time for that to come up. That's going to get protected and hopefully live for years and years. But the annual veggies are mostly done. And as I was working, it's been a very mild fall. I haven't started a fire in the wood stove. We have not run the heater yet. It's been very, very mild. And so a lot of things are producing later than they normally would. Sorry, the sun's weird. The sun is setting earlier and earlier here. So there are some things that are still producing, and I try to talk about this every year, but I just want to bring it up again because I think it is something that we all need to be reminded of annually. It is okay to have reached your limit and say, I don't want to do this anymore this year. And for me, I find that it's important to honor the seasons of the garden and to honor my own ability to engage so that I don't experience burnout, right? And so for me, I am going through and ripping up plants and I have tomatillos that are still producing, and there's some Swiss chard that I probably could keep going, but I really want to just clean this bed up, chop everything up, put it back on the bed, and then put chicken manure on top and some rock dust minerals and throw a layer of wood chips on it and be freaking done for the winter. I'm ready for winter. I'm ready to be done. And I think that is okay. It's good to know your own limits. It's good to be forgiving and say, maybe I'm wasting a little bit of food, but I just don't want to do this anymore. I think that is super important for our longevity in permaculture. If we want to be resilient, if we want to be sustainable, and if we want to be beyond that, we want to be regenerative, which is what permaculture seeks to help us become, right? Regenerative people. We have to have the ability to regenerate. So we can't get our batteries all the way down to nothing. And we can't experience burnout year after year after year. We can't keep pushing to the point where there's no joy in it anymore. And so, if you're like me and you're at the point in the garden season where you're God, I'm just I'm over this, or this feels like a burden and not a joy right now, put your garden to bed and put your hobby of gardening to bed for the winter and do something else. Now, I have plenty of winter garden activities. I have a number of videos on what I do in the winter. It's mostly mulching beds, putting down wood chips, and pruning trees in my orchard. Those tasks don't really feel like gardening to me. They feel like physical labor. They feel like, exercise and not necessarily gardening because I'm not growing anything. They are an important part of the year in my permaculture garden, but it feels like a different kind of engagement for me. But in terms of weeding and harvesting and plant, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. So I could be somebody that overwinters tomatoes in pots in the house, or peppers, right? I have friends who grow tomatoes in the house or in their greenhouse, a heated greenhouse over the winter. I don't do that. The only thing I am overwintering in the house is my citrus. And this year I might do chives in the house because Ruth eats chives nonstop. And so I want to keep a chive plant going in the house for her. But other than that, I'm just need to move on to something else. In the winter, I typically do a lot of sewing. I do a lot of spinning on my spinning wheels, even though I also do that in the summer. But I tend to do a lot more reading, and I'm obviously spending the bulk of my time helping the kids with school stuff, which is weird for an unschooler to say, but since 3 of my 4 kids are now college students, and 3 of the 4 of them have learning disabilities and need accommodations and accessibility, so that they can show mastery of the material and get the college education that they need and deserve, I am there as a support person, right? And also, I just want to spend time with my children. We talk a lot about their schoolwork. We just have really lively conversations, and I find that they are learning things, reading things that I have never studied, and I love having exchanges about that. So I would rather spend my time doing that than being outside alone in the garden. And you may say oh, why don't your kids garden with you? Couldn't gardening be time with your children? My children have not inherited my eccentric and I don't want to say extreme, but it is kind of extreme love of gardening. I inherited this from my mom and my grandpa, but my kids like to garden. Ruth really loves to take care of the poultry and the beekeeping, but my kids don't have quite the same passion for this that I do, and so I don't force them to participate in any way, shape, or form. They enjoy eating out of the garden. They help me out now and then, and there are some things they enjoy dabbling in, but permaculture is my work. It's not their work. The garden is my hobby and my business. It's not theirs. And so I don't want to make that a burden for them. Tying back into what I said at the beginning, right? Permaculture should not be burdensome. And if we want to have longevity in it, if I have any hope or interest that my kids would have a future where they want to garden, where they want to become interested in doing the things that I do, and we can partner in that way, I'm not going to squash that interest when they're children or young adults by making this a chore. So I don't put this on them to do. That's not to say that everything we do in the garden is going to be delightful and that everything we do is going to feel like fun or entertainment, right? Obviously there is labor involved, but the yield out of the garden in terms of the harvest, but also in terms of our enjoyment, and I say this a lot, has got to exceed or at least merit the amount of labor that we put into it and the amount of like toil and the amount of drudgery that comes with garden work. So yeah, as I'm here ripping up plants and like, oh, I'm really over a big chunk of this and I'm not enjoying some of this. I want you to know, if that's what's happening in your garden, that is totally okay. If that is your place where you're at with your permaculture, that is totally okay. And we are moving into a season of holidays, of short days, of time inside the home, where I think that it's okay to take a break from all of this. It's okay to say, I'm putting this relationship on pause, or I'm just letting it hibernate, really. The garden will keep doing its thing, right? The soil microbes will keep doing their thing. Plants will keep breaking down. You don't have to be there at this season of the garden. You guys can take a respite from each other, and that's totally okay. So there is something I do have to say here at the end, which is that acknowledging that that's where I'm at, I don't have to feel guilt about it or shame, and I don't have to feel like I'm a bad permaculturist because I'm sick of doing this right now, right? That's a logical, natural place to be in the ebb and flow of the seasons and the ebb and flow of your life. So it's just acknowledging like, oh yeah, I'm actually in tune with my feelings, and I'm connecting with the garden in a kind of cyclical way that's very natural. In permaculture, we say design from patterns to details. We mimic systems in nature, and nature is cyclical. So our relationship with the garden can have that same cyclical nature to it, and that's totally normal and good. So you want to have enough like starter left that you can kind of, I don't want to say ferment, that's probably not the best analogy, but yeah, like you can build up that starter so that next spring you have enough of a bank of energy that you have cached for yourself to be able to do this again next year, right? And I don't know if you're like me, but as soon as like February rolls around, even January, even like getting those seed catalogs, I am immediately starting to get psyched up again. I don't need that much of a downtime. I basically need November and December. Come January, I'm raring to go again. And I think that's good. It builds that anticipation. Having a break where you're sick of it now means that you get to have that longing build up again so that you have the energy to jump in next year. So I'm going to keep working because the sun is very quickly setting and I want to have time for my walk after, and I don't want to lose all the daylight hours. So I'm going to keep working, but I just wanted to share those thoughts with you as I'm doing this job and being like, I don't want to pick any more tomatillos. I don't want to be out here again picking any more annual veggies. I am ready to put it to bed for the winter. It's okay if you are in that place too. So thank you for watching today. Please do not forget to click like and subscribe. I really hope when I edit this, the wind noise is not terrible on this video. I keep thinking I need to upgrade my tech and not keep filming on a 6-year-old phone, but I have microphones, but I keep forgetting to charge them. That's just the way it is. So please don't forget you can check me out on TikTok. I am hitting 80,000 followers on TikTok this week. I don't know how that happened. It blows my mind that people care to listen to my opinion. So thank you. I'm humbled that people care about what I have to say. So please check me out over there. And don't forget also to share with your friends and take care of yourselves. Make sure that you are pacing yourself in the garden and you're giving yourself the necessary rest that you need. So I'll be back really soon. Thanks.